Welcome to the Thrive Mindset Podcast, where manifesting your dreams isn't magic, it's momentum. I'm your host, Carrie Dahle, entrepreneur, author, and manifestation coach, and I'm here to help you stop holding yourself back and start building the life you've been craving. Each week, I'll share real stories, practical tools, and powerful mindset shifts to help you reframe the negative, embrace gratitude, and take aligned action toward your goals. If you're ready to up-level your life, your relationships, your success, then this is your place. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Thrive Mindset Podcast. This week feels heavier. Actually, this year feels a bit heavier. We've lost a lot of people, right? A lot of stars and people in the world around us have been lost. And here locally in my community, we lost 2 teenage girls in a terrible car accident. And 3 other boys are still fighting to recover. They were drinking and they were driving too fast, and it didn't have to happen. And when something like that happens in your own community, when the faces are young, when the futures were wide open, it doesn't just show up as news. It shows up as this mirror. Because while those families are living every parent's nightmare, the rest of us are left asking ourselves the quiet question, what are we doing with our days? And it's the end of February. And how is that even possible? Because I feel like I just set my word of the year. I just came home from my triple R retreat, right? I just came home from reflecting and recalibrating and re-energizing. And I have plans and I have goals and I have lists and I have this huge momentum. And then this. And suddenly the deadlines don't feel as loud. Sure, I have lots of work to do and I am getting it done and I'm focused on it and it still has to get done. But I'll be honest, the meetings don't feel as urgent. The little annoyances don't feel as important because tragedy has this way of exposing what's real and what's pretending to be urgent. Because most of us are just sprinting through life like it's a race we're afraid to lose. Emails and appointments and scrolling and responding and producing and planning. And we move so fast that we don't even feel our own exhaustion until our body forces us to. And sometimes life forces us to pause in a much more devastating way. And I just want us to stop, right? And I just want us to think about that for just a moment because I keep thinking about these girls and about their parents and about the ordinary moments earlier that day that no one realized were the last. The last hug, the last eye roll, the last I'll be back later. None of us get warned when that moment is final. And that's the part that just keeps sitting with me. Because while we can't control everything, and we certainly can't control the reckless decisions of others, we can control the pace at which we live our own lives. We can control whether we're present or not. We can control whether we're modeling something different for the young people that are watching us. And slow isn't lazy. Present isn't unproductive. And awareness isn't weakness. It's wisdom.
This episode of the Thrive Mindset podcast is brought to you by the Scott Lewis Group at John L. Scott Real Estate. Buying or selling a home is more than just a transaction. It's your move. It's your next chapter. And we're here to make sure that your move is remarkable. We know this market inside and out, and we care deeply about helping you find more than just a house. We want you to find the place where your life truly thrives. Whether you're stepping into your first home, upgrading to something new, or starting something fresh, you deserve more than ordinary. With the Scott Lewis Group, it's your move. Let's make it remarkable.
And you all know that I believe we manifest the energy we put out. And here's something I've been thinking about within all of this. If the energy we are constantly putting out is rushed and frantic and distracted and impatient, then what are we building? What are we modeling? What are we attracting more of? Because we glorify busy, right? We normalize being exhausted. We treat go, go, go as success. We've created this culture that confuses adrenaline for feeling alive. And it's dangerous. And especially for young people still learning what enough feels like. Because here I was this last week when this news came in, and I was holding this sweet, sweet new baby in our family. He was completely unaware of urgency. She's completely immersed in the present. She's listening and watching and absorbing every little thing. And her little nervous system isn't braced for the next thing. She isn't rushing for tomorrow. She's just simply here. And it was wild to just sit there and realize that we all started this way. We all began like sponges, curious and slow and present. And somewhere along the way, we traded that awareness for acceleration. Let me tell you, and it was a joy to just hold her and sit in that and not be scrolling at my phone and not to be looking at things, but just to sit with her and hold her and let her just sleep in my arms and just to watch her breathe and just to be present. Because here's, I think, the really uncomfortable truth. We're so focused on going and going and going, but speed and getting things done quickly doesn't equal significance. Busy doesn't equal importance. You can build a successful business and you can chase big dreams and you can manifest incredible things. But if you lose your presence in the process, what are you actually building? Achievement without awareness, it feels empty. Momentum without mindfulness just feels anxious. And success without connection, well, that just feels hollow. So this week has forced me to ask myself, where am I moving too fast? Where am I responding instead of experiencing? Where am I treating life like a task instead of a gift? Because it's already the end of February. And if I'm not careful, I'm going to blink and it's going to be summer and then fall and then another year. And I don't want to arrive at the end of this year wondering where I was for most of it and wondering why I didn't even enjoy the current time and space and word I was in for this year. So here's what I'm inviting you to do with me this week. Slow down on purpose, not because tragedy happened, not because you're afraid, not because you're retreating from your goals, but because you understand something deeper. Slow down when you drive. Slow down when you speak. Slow down when someone is telling you a story. Slow down long enough to actually taste your food. Slow down long enough to notice your own breath. You don't have to abandon ambition to embrace presence. You have to anchor into it differently. Build your dreams from a regulated nervous system. Build your goals from clarity instead of chaos. Build your success from gratitude instead of grind. And for the parents listening, if you have teenagers, hug them, talk to them, have the uncomfortable conversations, model restraint, model responsibility, model presence. They're watching how we handle stress. They're watching how we thrive. They're watching how we cope. We can't control every choice they make, but we can influence a culture that they grow up inside of. We can help them get away from their screens a little bit and help them realize that this isn't real, that the world on this is pretend and they don't need to live up to that. We can just influence in a way that's beautiful. And life is precious and it's fragile and it's happening faster than we think. The greatest manifestation isn't the house or the income or the recognition. It's the life that feels meaningful while you're living it. So let this be the week you don't rush through. Let this be the week you drive slower, listen longer, put the phone down, make eye contact, and say something that matters. Because you don't get notified when a moment is the last one. We only get the opportunity to be present in the one we're in. So take a breath with me. Slow down before it slows you down. And remember that I believe in you and you can manifest the life of your dreams.